defensive, keep you in the air. Falcon's a fast faller, though, and loves to juggle you, right? That up air being one of his main combo tools, and it's going to be a huge, huge X factor in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think the one nice thing, though, for DustyKnees, where normally Jigglypuff, you're kind of worried about your matchup chart at times. Like, you aren't going to get that great of a matchup every now and again. Falcon, though, that's edge guard, baby. You know, you just pop that forward throw, and all of a sudden, one little nair, one little fair, and you've got that gimp, right? So I'm excited to see what they got cooking.
I was going to say, for the most part, I'd agree with you, but you do also have, right, that ability to use that command grab to kind of get in, get up, get out there, and kind of beat out that edge guarding capability of Puff. She is a big round target, being a balloon after all, but great pound, just trying to find the landing, looking for the roll read in, found it, but didn't get the spacing quite right, and just not able to maintain these advantage states. How is B2Thick going to find the way out of the corner, though, Yin?
That is the question, and at this point, DustyKnees just has some really good understanding of kind of the mental that you have coming into this game. First, we saw that roll read a little off on spacing, but the idea there is that, look, you're going to be terrified in this tech situation, and you aren't going to want to roll out because you're more likely to die there. And so we've seen a couple of instances where, like, all right, B2Thick kind of jumping a couple of times, and DustyKnees calling it. Speaking of calling, though, the fire back with the Falcon kick right there.
Yeah, no, man, just letting it rip is gonna find the stock. And speaking of let it rip, right, that nair going to find its strong hit. That move's so incredibly active. Even though it doesn't have the hitbox size of fair, it's one of Puff's best tools to edgeguard to close out those confirms. That pound maybe could have found an up air into a stock there, but just DustyKnees not quite looking for it, and instead just trying to keep this pace of the game slow, reset to neutral, right? And really just not let this Falcon get that high-octane gameplay started that Jigglypuff can't really contest.
I will say, I think I'm starting to see a lot more focus on whip punishing from B2Thick. We've seen a couple of times where they've just gone ahead, backed up, let a Falcon kick rip or a dash attack, and trying to punish missed pounds, and DustyKnees just placing those nairs to keep safe with that bit of an end lag.
Absolutely. Trying to find a way back down, but there's that up air we talked about earlier, right? Trying to find it and the command grab to boot, but that up B not going to find the stock. The reset to neutral not going to last too long, though, because the raw raptor boost going to call you out, keep you in disadvantage. And that's really been the story, is DustyKnees has been able to land back on stage, but every time, right, this slow pace of game has gotten a little bit predictable, and B2Thick's just been able to find the mix-up so far with those dash attacks, with those Falcon kicks, right, and really just use those huge burst options to not let DustyKnees stay on the ground.
I love the idea of DustyKnees right there, though. Understanding that B2Thick is trying to let these dash attacks, these down Bs rip, and try to get those meaningful hits without going for too much risk there and trying to put the risk on DustyKnees. And so DustyKnees just chills back, goes ahead, hits the shield, and then pops him for it, you know?
Absolutely. And now one stock apiece, right? We are at a dead even game here in game number one, looking for the down air to try and find some cheese a little early, but putting yourself in the corner, that edgeguard situation in boot, not where you want to be against Puff. However, both players kind of getting the overextension, the F smash going to keep things close, and right now, Yin, these two players are swinging, missing, and just going at it in a full-on scrap situation.
B2Thick is just letting these kill moves rip. We have seen a forward smash into up smash into Falcon kick. This is just constant want to kill. They see the soccer ball and they want to punt it out of that stadium right now.
Well, hold on. I don't know what soccer ball you're talking about. I don't see any John numbers in this house. But we are just keeping these Falcon kicks going, right? Still using those feet to hit that balloon just like you were talking about. Whether it's a balloon or a ball, they're still big, round, and both full of air. So, you know, I understand how you'd confuse Jigglypuff for a soccer ball, dude. But the up air, speaking of, right, gonna put you 1-2 into the blast zone, finding the rainbow kick to take the game. And B2Thick, following on the back of all those smash attacks, right, to trip on the percent, gonna just close it out with an up air and go up 1-0 in our very first set of the night.
I think what I want to see from B2Thick is a higher focus on those juggle situations. That up air is so huge, and with such a floaty character like Jigglypuff, how do you get down? What are you meant to do?
Well, you really just need to like mix up your drift a little bit more, right? We're really seeing DustyKnees hold these very linear drift angles, these really linear descents, not really use pound to mix up that descent because it does stall your vertical momentum. We're seeing it a little bit here, right? That little shimmy to get back down into the pound, but this very defensive gameplay just hasn't really been an answer to, as you said, right, those huge anti-airs between up air, up smash that Falcon can just really hit you with, and this knee just chipping on, continuing the advantage state.
Yeah, you see the Thunderbolt spark, and you know you took a huge knee to the head. And that's just meaning damage after damage. Looking for that nair, which could have been so good to get a little bit of an early lead. Even with that combo, right now, DustyKnees starting to pull a little bit away in the percent lead. But with Falcon, that ain't much, right?
No, not at all. And the second Falcon kick gonna find its mark. The first one, though, was called out by a beautiful, charge on that F smash. The pullback frames, right, hurtbox shifting DustyKnees just out of reach, finding the stock. It was a beautiful little piece of micro spacing, but right now, both these players are trying to slow down, hold a neutral, and DustyKnees has just kind of held shield a lot, never really been punished for it, and it's going to be really interesting to note whether B2Thick starts to mix in more grabs, more command grabs, right, to really punish this reliance on shielding as your main defensive tool.
100%. And that has been where we've seen most of the good hits, as you said. And so now, all of a sudden, just running up in shields. DustyKnees has made that adjustment because we saw the first game was a lot more focus on kind of this aerial pound play into, say, a nair to try to punish any attempt to get in after the pound end lag. And so now we've seen a lot more focus on just getting down on the ground, popping that shield, and trying to, instead of keeping B2Thick away, now encouraging B2Thick to get inside of that bubble and hit the shield for the punish.
And one of the huge adjustments B2Thick's made this game, right, is just literally just standing there menacingly, right? Not gonna make like hacks, not gonna just throw out the random down smash, but what you are gonna do is be able to play on reaction, right? One of the most powerful things you can do in Ultimate is sometimes just don't press a button, because when you aren't pressing anything, you have access to everything, like that jump, like that up B, gonna call it out, close out the stock, and yin. I mean, this incredibly reactive play has really forced out the consistent punishes on what's really been just kind of an overuse of these jump resources from DustyKnees.
Oh, 100%. And I think DustyKnees, you know, just getting a little bit nervous inside a disadvantage, trying to get that ledge control. I want to see DustyKnees kind of take that B2Thick approach. We've seen B2Thick stand there so many times, like right there. There's nothing you can do to punish him for standing there, especially as Jigglypuff, where you don't have an extreme amount of burst range or air height mobility, where you can't jump high enough to avoid the aggressive options Falcon might be able to put out there. But all the same, DustyKnees, you know, kind of shutting me up for a minute, putting a little bit of a showcase with that ledge pressure.
Yeah, right, tried to find the edge guard and was in a perfect situation to do. Unfortunately, just drifting a little bit too far forward with the fair. Wasn't going to find its mark. That dropping pound gonna be safe. Find some shield pressure that's as small as a Skittle, but the knee gonna come in, send you all the way to the blast zone, but not quite making contact. Jigglypuff gonna hold on for just a second. DustyKnees, though, back against the wall. One more chance, one more release on life. Can he find this stop?
Oh,
well,
hold up.
I guess he can.
This is where the fear needs to set in for B2Thick. You need to play patient and solid, because you know one missed opportunity.
That was so smart. That was so
really
smart.
Was.
He just mixed up saying, okay, I know you're immediately jumping out of disadvantage every single time, right? Using these that multiple jumps Jigglypuff has, and he caught on to the fact that DustyKnees not only was jumping at a disadvantage, but would often jump and then hold towards Falcon, right? Put yourself over the top of him, which can have the benefit when you're up higher of, right, you can drift left, you can drift right, it's a little bit more ambiguous, but the flip side of it is, well, if your opponent catches a read onto that, like we saw there, there's nowhere to go, especially with how huge that command grab hitbox is.
Well, and that kind of felt like the play, too, for DustyKnees, right? You had B2Thick keep backing up and standing underneath that plat, waiting for DustyKnees to make a decision. And so now you're sitting here like, well, my best burst option is to jump, pop that pound, and it made the connection just with the shield, and that was the issue there.
Yeah, and I mean, DustyKnees, right? So many of those options were good in theory, but they weren't necessarily great. Like, it wasn't that DustyKnees was playing poor, or I actually thought I really liked a lot of what DustyKnees was doing. It was just an over-reliance on the air game without as much, right? We didn't really see any of the jabs, which can confirm in a dash attack and a back air that you see from a lot of puffs. We didn't see a single grab from DustyKnees all set, as you mentioned earlier, right? One of Puff's best options to set up those edge guards. And overall, it just felt like Dusty was kind of simultaneously holding forward, right? Like holding, like constantly pushing buttons preemptively, but was also playing a very defensive game plan, just looking for like a single hit and run. And when a character is just faster than you with bigger hitboxes like Falcon, it's just so hard to execute that game plan.
Oh, 100%. And I think we're seeing like that first clip right there where DustyKnees was a little too hesitant to get down to the ground, where it was just, all right, I'm going to jump, fade it back, jump, fade back. And you do that one too many times. You tempt the animal within a Falcon player one too many times, you know they're going to let that kill option rip.
Absolutely. There you saw, right, that Raptor boost could have confirmed into a knee, but B2Thick just wasn't quite sure, didn't want to commit to it. Still was able to close it out anyways, but that's just one of those things you note because, right, in a different world, the opportunity was there for that at stock to come out earlier, and with when you give your opponent one extra chance, you never quite know what's going to happen.